Greetings, everyone, from the awesome sci fiction awesomeness. This is Owen Cotter for scifiction.com. I'm coming to you from a undisclosed location on the planet Earth. We are here broadcasting out, simulcasting out at Sci-Fiction Official on YouTube, at Sci-Fiction COM on Facebook, at Sci-Fiction on Twitch and Twitter. So we're going to be blasting off all kind of goodies today. We have later here in a few minutes, we're going to be bringing on today's guest. This weekend's guest is Chris Leffel. He is with the Kansas City R2 Builders Club. It's all kind of Astromech goodness. Got my Chopper shirt on here as well. All kind of droid awesomeness. He'll be joining us here shortly. Wanted to go a little bit over what they do at the R2 Droid Builders awesomeness. We're going to bring him on here shortly. We got the sci-fiction site. Go over a few little news items here right quick. We are going to be at the Gen V episodes. We've been getting with Amazon, getting those out for you, recapping the shows. It's video game goodness. I'm going to bring you up to Fan Expo. We will be at Fan Expo New Orleans, January 5th to the 7th. And we're going to be coming to you from there. And we will be there providing coverage. Got some really amazing guests down there. They've been adding on a lot of guests, too. They've got Peter Cullen, who's the voice of Optimus Prime, will be there. You've got all 4 original Ninja Turtles cartoon actors will be there. You've got, I think they just added a few others. They got Danny Trejo will be there. They got Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio from the Daredevil TV series. See who else. There's tons of, they're actually piling on a bunch of actors as the months go by. So I think over the next month will be even more. Let me see if I can get their site up real quick. Oh, New Orleans. We got here Fan Expo New Orleans goodness. Bring it up here on the screen for everybody to see. The guests. There we go. Guest in it up. All right, here we go. Fan Expo. Share. It's your last chance to get all the ticket goodness. All right, it's January 5th to the 7th, 2024. We will be at Fan Expo in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm doing some panels, covering some good coverage for them down there. We've got the schedule. Let's see, guests, celebrity guests. Got all the good guests here, including comic creators, voice actors, cosplayers, you name it. Linda Hamilton was just announced. That's awesome. You got Katie Sackhoff. You've got John Berthel, Punisher himself, Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, Sean Gunn, lots. And you got the voice actors. They're just still piling up all the goodies on here still. We've got voice actors. Get that on here. Voice actors. There we go. Here's your voice actors so far. Includes animation. Peter Cullen. You got the Pinky and the Brain of Futurama. That's awesome. They just added that one. Tara Strong, My Little Pony. All 4 Ninja Turtles actors. Some good anime actors there. And you can get the voice of, what's her name? Dora the Explorer. Chainsaw Man, Lloyd, Forger, Spikes, Philly, Alex, Oregon. You got a lot of good stuff here. So we're going to really be looking forward to them. We also got our friends. We'd like to shout out to our friends at the Federation. If you're listening to this broadcast, I believe this is episode 57, I'm pretty sure, on Subspace Radio Network. So get into that and listen to that. On Subspace Radio Network, we have our show Sci-Fiction Radio. It's on iHeartRadio. It's every week, Thursday, 7, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Also syndication in Pacific, I believe it's like 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific. It airs on Subspace Radio Network, iHeartRadio. So this will be episode 57, I believe. And we will be broadcasting this week will be Chris. And next week, I think we're going to have my good friend, Manu Inte Raimi from Star Trek Voyager and One Tree Hill. He'll be on this next week's guest, and we're getting more and more guests together for the holiday season. So hope everybody gets to join in on that in our broadcast here on the digital social media goodness, which we'll be bringing on Chris here shortly. We have a lot of stuff we're getting ready to do over the next few months. Of course, we're getting guests for the broadcast. We're getting guests for the radio show. We're getting guests for the convention scene. We're also looking for some advertisers and sponsors. So if you'd like to advertise with us or sponsor us to go to events or come cover your event or promote anything you have that you're looking to get the word out on, feel free to call us up or send us a message on our Facebook at Sci-Fiction COM, and we'll get with you on that. That is good coffee. My name is Owen Cotter. People just joining us. I run scifiction.com. This is the Sci Fiction channel on Facebook at SciFictionCOM. We're also looking to get more YouTube subscribers. So if you're watching this on YouTube and we happen to pop up in your trending feed, follow us at SciFictionOfficial. We're also on Twitter and Twitch at SciFiction on Twitter. So we're broadcasting out on all thrusters here. We got Chopper. He's got his rocket going on with all thrusters. It's all good. Everybody, I hope everybody's having a good weekend. Having a good weekend here. We're just gearing up to do some goodies. We're going to go doing some stuff for the holiday season. And then I think we may even do Mardi Gras, part of that. I came out of nowhere, that one. And then after that, we're going to be going to do some stuff on the Gulf Coast. And before Mardi Gras, of course, as we said, we'll be at Fan Expo January 5th to the 7th, 2024. That's our first big event of the year. We always enjoy going to the Fan Expo. It's awesome. Always have some really great. I think last year they had Dean Devlin and Jonathan Glassner from Stargate Independence Day. And we got to talk with them, had an amazing conversation with them on stage, talking about their new show, The Ark, which was renewed for season 2. Yes. And then we also got to talk with the new Spock, Ethan McDowell, who's Ethan Peck, excuse me. All right, we have a friend called Ethan McDowell as well. Got to get that coffee booting up. But Ethan McDowell, for people that know, we had Mark Secree on last week, and he has an amazing thing called Space Command, and Ethan McDowell, our good buddy, is the lead role in that. But not Ethan Peck. Ethan Peck's the new Spock, so get the pointed ears, and one doesn't have the pointed ears. But it's all good. But we're going to be bringing on Chris here shortly. If you have any questions for Chris pertaining to R2, builders, Star Wars, any kind of cool questions, feel free to ask him. We will be bringing the chat bar up here on the Digital Awesomeness. So he does a lot of stuff. He has his own R2 he built. He'll have to tell you about that. It's super cool. And he's got a lot of other things he does with the Star Wars. But the R2 builders are specifically for building astromechs and droids, which is super cool. And they move and they walk and they do all this stuff just like in the movies. Coffee's good. Yeah, with Star Wars stuff, man. We just finished up the Ahsoka. I just been binging Loki season 2 on Disney Plus. That show's amazing. All the characters, Owen Wilson, the guy that played Data from Goonies, and Indiana Jones, Dr. Jones, he's in it. He plays OB. If you haven't seen the show rather, highly recommend watching Loki season 2. If you haven't seen it at all, watch Loki season 1, then watch Loki season 2. So I highly recommend checking out that television series. It's absolutely amazing. It has a lot of good, really, I love the look and feel of that show. Ahsoka was really good too. I think they're going to do Filoni's doing a movie or something with the Thrawn Heirs of the Empire. I think they're going to do a movie, a live action film. I think they just announced some information on the Skeleton Crew when that release date's going to be, and they're going to be doing a whole bunch of other goodies. So we're looking forward to that. Getting to see what else they're going to have on the Star Wars goodness and all kind of stuff, including droids. Also got droids coming up here too. Chris will be joining us here shortly. For people joining us, my name is Owen Cotter. You're watching Sci Fiction on YouTube at Sci Fiction Official, Sci Fiction COM on Facebook, Sci Fiction COM on Twitch, and at Sci Fiction on Twitter. We also have TikTok. We have not figured out the way to get that. There's really no software that we know of that can actually simulcast all these, including TikTok. So we're working on that. We are working on some web development projects on the side that we will be announcing more as the months go by. Some really, really cool stuff I think the fans will enjoy. Really interactive, really super cool things. And we're going to be lighting up we got some new writers for the site at Sci Fiction. We've got a really great video game writer. Her name's Dia. She's doing a lot of really great content for the site. If you go to the video game section, you'll see a lot of her work there, as well as Kieran. He is amazing for TV shows and movies, and Dominic. And there's so many great people. We're bringing on all kind of people on board. This project just keeps getting grander and bigger than ever. It's going to be the best of awesomeness. We're working hard to bring quality and quantity. It's most importantly quality, and getting as much great content to the fans, the fans, as we can on the internet and beyond, including the radio show and everything else. So we're looking forward to that. We have a little bit of time here before we join the broadcast. Before Chris joins the broadcast, they're checking our Twitch feed there, make sure that's all active. It seems to be working well. People joining us, my name is Owen Cotter. We're going to have Chris Leffel from the Kansas City R2 Builders joining us here shortly. If you'd like or would like to build your own R2 unit, or would like to know more about how they work, the programming, the different specs and gizmos and gadgets and electronics and stuff inside these things, feel free to message or rather chat with us here in the overlay. And I'll feature your chat here on the front of the screen. If you have any kind of questions you'd like to ask, any kind of stuff, just feel free to chat with us. We're gonna be sitting here for a little while talking about all kind of goodies, including Star Wars and everything, droids, you name it. So we'll be here to answer your questions. And Chris probably knows more than I do when it comes to this. He's built these things. He's got full life-size R2 Astromech of his own. So it's really cool to get to talk with him about. I always have been enamored with Star Wars, especially the droids. They're really the unsung heroes. We actually had an article about that on the site that we put together, how the droids are really the unsung heroes of Star Wars. They're all the action heroes like, Obi-Wan, Anakin, all of them. Really in the background, you've got the droids, opening doors and saving the day and, taking care of business, R2 and stuff, and Chopper and all the famous RC3PO, all that. So they're really the unsung heroes, in my opinion, of the Star Wars franchise. So basically that's, without further ado, there you go on that. We are looking at doing some science fiction filming. There's some projects we can't really announce yet. We may be doing some filming on some projects that are being shopped around to some networks. We can't really get into who's that's with, what's that with, what's the name. It's kind of NDA, all locked down. But let's just everybody know, maybe towards the summer, early, later in the summer, we'll have some stuff more to showcase you and show you more about that. We also, our friends at Space Command, we would love to go down there and view their studio sometime very soon. We were invited to do that. I think Mark's still doing his Kickstarter. He has 9 or 10 days left. So if you go to Kickstarter, go to our previous broadcast had the link, but it's a Kickstarter and look for Space Command. It's a new Kickstarter for Space Command. I believe it's forgiveness for forgiveness. I believe it's one of those, forgiveness or redemption, but it's a new one. It's still going. Last we checked, it had about $37,000. They've raised it to $60,000 that they're looking to raise. So highly recommend going and backing that project. Mark Secree and his wife Elena put together an amazing cast, including our friend Ethan McDowell and all our other friends, Nathan and Jacob Charlot, and of course Doug Jones, and all the original sci-fi actors like Bob Picardo, Bruce Boxleitner. Everybody. Mira Furlan, late Mira Furlan was in this project. The original first two-part. They've got the box set, all kind of great perks. They've got what's called the Platinum Edition, which is kind of like a black and white, super polished, like OG, looking kind of like the old Buster Crabbe, Flash Gordon, Buck Rogers OG sci-fi look and feel. Space Patrol kind of goodness from the old 1950s, look and aesthetic of the sci-fi goodness. Highly recommend checking out that project. Go to Space Command on Kickstarter. We'll be bringing on Chris here shortly. Anybody has any questions for Chris, feel free to answer or ask questions about the awesomeness that is the awesomeness. We will be bringing to those that are coming to you on the Space Awesomeness Chris here shortly. Checking all of our levels here. Everything seems to be going good on the Spaceship Awesomeness. We're out of the studio today. We're out and about. We have Wi-Fi put in this vehicle, so there shouldn't be any interruption with the Wi-Fi goodness. Here we go. I believe this is Chris right here.
Here I am.
Chris, how's it going, sir? How are you doing today, sir?
Good today. How about you?
Doing good. We're just sitting here chilling outside of I don't know what this place is, a nail salon or something like that.
I noticed. I was watching the feed. I was watching the feed for a minute. I was watching what you were talking about, and I'm like, he's drinking coffee, chilling in the car. Okay.
That's right. We're talking about all the R2 droid goodness and all the sci-fi shows, and we plugged our buddy's project. He's got it's a Space Command.
Uh-huh.
It's got some robots and aliens in that, and he was on last week, and I think they've still got 9 days left of this Kickstarter on that one. So
that's pretty cool.
Yes, indeed. How have you been? I haven't seen you in a quick minute, man.
Yeah, I know. Between all the conventions we've had, ICC, and we had some stuff out here in the Midwest that we attended, and just been staying pretty busy with the R2 stuff. And then, of course, I got a full-time job, so that's been keeping me as busy as possible.
I understand that. Yeah, we've been busy, not as much on the we've been to a lot of conventions. We did like San Diego Comic-Con, and then we went a week later. We went to the Star Trek event out in Vegas, and then we took a little break and we did some other stuff. We're doing filming. Then we did the radio. Then we come back. Now we're going in January. We're going out to New Orleans. I think they want us to do something Mardi Gras.
Oh wow!
Coming back They've got us like back and forth, like all of us are building out our next 6 to 12 month roster
Right.
on all we're going to be doing. That. So it's just like, man, so we
Definitely
got to pick
busy.
and choose wisely. Got to pick and choose wisely what we do, but we're looking at we got the Star Wars one was really we're looking at maybe doing if they bring it back to the U.S. because Tokyo Japan's the next one,
Right.
and that's in 2025.
Yeah, that would have been
Uh,
fun. That really would have been, but uh,
yeah,
that's a lot of money to
that's
go to Japan.
yeah. I think we should. I'm looking at maybe if they bring it back to Orlando or Anaheim for the next. That'd be like the 50th anniversary, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Of
and I'm
Star
really
Wars.
hoping
Yeah,
they do Orlando because Orlando was spot on for the facility, the size of
that was
the
amazing.
convention center, the hotels, the restaurants, everything was really well situated for that convention.
Yeah, we were down there at the 40th. I think it was the 40th on that one, right?
Yeah,
For sure. I'm not sure. It was Orlando, and it was we were staying down there at the where were we staying? The Hilton or the Hyatt or whatever the one is with like the lazy lagoon that you can ride inner tubes around the back of
right.
the right there by the convention center. And we come back and hop over. And some days they have these little pedal bike guys with Yoda heads, just like pedaling everybody back. And you get to the lobby of the hotel, and they got people with a grand piano playing John Williams Star Wars music with a
Mm-hmm.
sushi bar. They're rolling all the movies on the screens throughout the hotels. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, they had a blast. I mean, all the hotels and even the restaurants really participated into that.
Yeah, it was a full blown awesomeness. And I like their facilities, like you said, because Orlando was great. Chicago, McCormick Place, don't get me wrong, it's just a massive building. That building's just too big, man.
Well, it's not just too big, but there's just not a lot of access to a lot of stuff without getting
Right,
transportation. And there's not a lot
right,
of good transportation around. I mean, just to get around easily within Chicago.
right. And in Chicago's like downtown. A lot of the hotels are spaced out. I think the only one down there by it's a Hyatt or something like that by the convention
Yeah, right
center.
across the street. Yeah. And that's got the little walkway, which is great, especially when, they're planning on cons being in April and it's still a possibility of snow. But, when
Right.
you can't get that hotel room, well, then you're having to get somewhere
So way
elsewhere.
down the road somewhere else and lift down there, right?
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, it gets kind of a pain, and we try to stay as close as possible because sometimes we don't sometimes we don't leave our droids there, and so
Right.
we'll take them back to our hotel with us, and we like that closeness where we can easily bring them in and lock
Right.
them up and they're fine. If we end up having to go several miles away for a hotel room, it makes it kind of a pain.
It's a real pain. Speaking of the droids, you tell everybody what you do and the R2 Builders Club of Kansas City and all that.
Well, I am one of the members of Kansas City R2 Builders, which is part of the Worldwide Droid Builders Club. And
Right.
we used to be just the R2 builders. Now we are droid builders because we are encompassing a whole lot more now. We don't
Right.
just do R2s. Now we got gonk droids. We got BB-8. We got all these other different droids that are available now that there's so many clubs now because of that. So now it's just a worldwide club. It's really neat. But
You have your own droid as well, right?
what's that?
You built your own droid as well.
Yeah, I took 2.5 years to build. I've got the red one that you showed there. That was R2R9. He's off of episode 1. He was one of Queen Amidala's on her ship, one of the 6 that go up to get blown off while trying to fix the shields. But yeah, so it took me 2.5 years to build. It's all aluminum. I really wanted to stick with the 1977 design, where he was all aluminum. Except I did go steel feet because you got to have a good pair of shoes.
Right.
But yeah, so it took me a little bit, but if you look at this page on the R2 builders here with the KC-R2, we've got a lot of R2D2s. So I'm not one to follow the same thing as everyone else. So that's why I wanted to do something a little different. And R2R9 had that coloring that just really popped to me.
Really does. It looks gorgeous. We had some photos we had taken a couple years ago, and it pops in those photos.
Oh yeah, and it's great because I mean, when we were at Orlando, there were over 105 droids there, and when people look at the picture, they immediately, oh, there's yours. So it's really easy to identify.
That's right.
But it's really neat because Kansas City R2 builders, we've got probably over, I think, 80 members in our group now, and I think we've got I think we're getting close to having over 20 completed droids just in the
Oh, wow.
Kansas City area. Now that doesn't count. We have a lot of guys from St. Louis that they have a St. Louis Builders Club as well, but they also come and join us for like Planet Comic Con that we have here in Kansas City. And so we end up with, I think last year we had almost 24 droids, 25 maybe. So we had quite a bit.
Y'all do any of the, like, I know I got Chopper here on my shirt. Do you do him or any of the other, like, various other, like, the Astromechs that aren't, like the kind of the ones like R4D4 and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, we've got got two R5s versions. Basically, what someone did was did an R5 dome for an R2D2, so took off R2's head and put R5s on it, and that's basically what George Lucas did in all the movies as well. For most of the R2, R5s, R3s, those such. So we do have those. We got 2 choppers locally in the Kansas City area that are built. I'm working on mine currently, and I'm going for the Imperial disguise. So he won't have that orange color, and he'll be the black coloring. So again, because I got to be different, I can't be like everyone else.
All good. All good. You got the BB-8 droids. I mean, there's different ways that. Let's get into like the electronics. What is your R2 R9? What does it have? Like, how's it powered with like programming? What's the specs?
Well, it's got 2 motorcycle batteries in it to keep it powered up. It's got an Arduino Mega for its computing processing. It's got 2 motor controllers, one to control the feet, and then one to control the dome. So the one that controls the feet actually does it like tank style. So if you turn left, it adjusts those feet based on that direction that you're trying to go.
Right.
And then it's got an MP3 player with an SD card in it that's got all the R2 sounds. I've got a 400 watt amplifier, which I kind of went overboard on the audio because speakers. I always feel like I'm kind of known as the loudest guy in our group, both with my voice and with my R2 and my mouse droid. Because I kind of
the mouse droid. Tell them about that.
Well, so
forget about that.
Yeah, I'll tell them about that. But yeah, so it's all overpowered. So I've got Focal speakers in it, which is what they put in Bentleys. I mean, it's real nice speakers that don't blow out easily, and it's just amazing quality. So they're quite loud. And so I got quite a few things in it. He's built kind of tank mode, so he's not. Kids have a tendency when you get near them that anything sticks out or anything looks like a button or things like that, they get grabby, which is fine, So I built mine to take that. Where some people do have panels that open up. My friend Chris Rice, he's got a R2D2 that's got a working zapper in it. It's really cool. You hear it cracking and popping.
Is that like a taser or what is it?
It's an old taser, yeah. Yep. Yeah, wow. So he's got that in it. He's got the fire extinguisher sprayer in it. So he's got some neat stuff in his. And of course, all the dome panels open up, which mine will do sometime, but his does that all right now, and it's pretty cool. So kids love that.
I didn't see anybody I saw one of the groups had all the little arms coming out with all the little gadgets, the saw and all the stuff. I mean, how involved does that get? I mean, it gets pretty involved, right?
So that's Ed Perello out of LA, and he worked on that for many, many, many years. And he's always he was for the longest time just looking to acquire all the actual parts used for those tools. So what you see on his R2 when he hooks everything up is what was actually used in the movie. I mean, not the actual prop, but what the actual devices or whatever they use to mimic that.
Right.
So yeah.
What are some of the? You mentioned the mouse droid.
Huh?
What is unique about that one? Tell me about that one.
So the mouse droids are actually that's actually our easiest, I feel like, the build, because it's really a shell over an RC car. And a lot of people think, well, that's really easy, which it can be. It's the shell and the prepping it and assembling it and getting it to look like the mouse droid. That's the hardest part of it. Once you get that down, it looks amazing. and it's really easy to
Yeah.
drive. Because I mean, all I do is use a regular remote controller for it. In fact, let me get my dog off me. I'll walk in there.
You got it.
What's that?
You got it.
All right, take my. See, I can't switch this around, can I? All right, so there's my mouse droid.
Nice.
And he basically, I can't get to him easily, but he's got a Traxxas Bandit in there, and that's what he operates on. So it's, just a basic car. And a lot of people change it to be different vehicles. We got a gal that's in Bakersfield, and she's got a monster truck version. So it's kind of lifted up, and it does some really neat stuff. So it's fun. I mean, the great thing about being an R2 builder is you don't have to do everything canon. You can spice it up. You can do it something different. You can make it look like your personal, whatever you feel like you want it to look like. I mean, we've had people do R2s that look like Iron Man. I mean, that's awesome.
I saw one that was like Boba Fett too.
Yeah.
It was over in Orlando.
Yeah, I got 2 of those. I've seen 2 of those. Got a steampunk versions. I mean, just some really creative designs that have been amazing.
Have you seen the one that's for the autism awareness one, that the puzzle pieces?
Yes,
and all that?
that's Christopher Mullins. He's actually a good friend of mine. He does a lot of props as well. He makes helmets, and he does a lot of Star Wars armor, and does some really cool stuff. So yeah, he's been a really good friend of mine as well. But yeah, I've supported that design and build, and his daughter as well, who's autistic, and that's the whole reason they did it. So I think that was really cool.
He had an auction going on this winter, and we did some stuff for him on that. And I want to get him on the broadcast next time. If he does one this winter, I definitely want to bring him back on and talk to him about that. But he has an amazing. He's the helmets and all the man.
Oh yeah, I've got several of them.
I got some of the was it the cast Mandos he had? Those are
cool. Yeah, I've got the Mando helmet. I've got the Boba Fett Play Arts helmet. I've got a Titanfall helmet from him. Nice. Oh, I love this.
That Gundam one was pretty cool. I remember the Gundam he had on the page was pretty dope.
So him and I actually were collaborating over that, because he was actually going to design a custom armor suit for me that was about 8 feet tall, and so that was that's what we were going to work on. Well, then he told me he wanted to really do something Gundam, and I'm like, oh, I'm all about that. And so we started talking about the original Gundams and Unicorn and stuff like that, trying to get some ideas. And so he started getting into the design phase and just ran with it.
It's great stuff, man. It's amazing work. So you're pretty plugged into the R2 Builders Club. What's the guys that, I mean, you can Miss McMasters, and there's another guy, Cena.
Yeah, Mike McMaster. They're both out of LA. They do a lot of work for Lucasfilm. You'll actually see their droids in Obi-Wan and Andor and stuff like that. With their R2, or I think in Obi-Wan there was a graffitied R5 unit in there, and that was Mike Sena's design. He did that one.
Really?
Yeah. Really? Which they've done some amazing designs. I don't know if you saw some of the pictures from McMaster, but he did like a full-size probe droid.
Yes, I did sound sick. I liked all the lights, everything on it.
Yeah, and then he also did recently from Black Hole, Disney's Black Hole. They did Maximilian.
Maximilian.
Yes, he just got that done recently. It looks amazing.
Where is that? Where's that at? Is that in LA? He has on display, or?
Well, it's at his house, and
nice.
Yeah, he's got a place out in.
He just needs old Bob and then Vincent, and they can do the battle and
right. Yeah, he hasn't done that yet, but yeah, he's been quite busy with all that. So yeah, it's been really neat to see his designs.
For sure, I would love to have had we have him on the show sometime. But we had Brandon Allinger on from Prop Store a few weeks back, and he had mentioned that they have some of the actual black hole miniature robots in their auction. It's taking place, I think, in a few days, actually, the auction. But
Huh,
yeah,
what?
they had like Vincent and old Bob, the miniatures used for when they're floating and
Right.
stuff. And they had like a maquette makeup, prototype looking thing for Maximilian.
Mm-hmm.
And all three are going in the auction. They're gorgeous. So I don't know how much those, probably tens of thousands of dollars are going each
Oh
one,
yeah,
right?
I bet. Since they were actually
They had
used.
they had the one of the crown jewels of that auction's the droid C-3PO had Anthony Daniels from his private collection. I think it's actually meant to go like over $1 million.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Only one of a kind.
There are collectors out there that big time are into this, and they'll definitely collect it if it was prop used, in the movie.
Yeah, those black hole models are super cool, but you'd want them all to put in the case, all together.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let me ask you these new. You mentioned Obi-Wan and some of these new Star Wars shows. Have you seen Ahsoka, Andor? Which one did you?
I've watched them all.
Very good.
We have watch parties at my house. My friend Chris comes over, and I've got my 75-inch down here in my man cave, and we definitely go and make sure we're able to watch it and kind of discuss it afterwards. And definitely have been really enjoying it. I wasn't much of the drama side of things, so Andor wasn't my top favorite. A lot of people enjoyed it.
Star Wars.
Huh?
It's like Star Wars of Blade Runner because there was no Jedi and stuff.
Right. And so that for me was, it was interesting, but it wasn't my top. Of course, I'm a droid guy, so I loved B2MO there. And we've got Michael Badley is one of our 3D designers out of Europe, and him and Tim Heibel out of Delaware. They both come up with some great and amazing designs for B2MO, and so people are 3D printing full size B2MOs and getting them operational. That's really cool.
That's super cool. Did you like Obi-Wan, or which one did you like? Ahsoka? Which one did you like the most out of all of them?
Well, I like Ahsoka of all right now. Mando has been my, just amazing favorite series. Give Favreau and Filoni the keys to the galaxy and just let them run with it. Right. They've just been doing an amazing job, and I just love it. Yeah. But yeah, Ahsoka really tugged at the heartstrings because I really enjoyed Rebels. I'm an animated guy, so I've loved Clone Wars. I loved Rebels. And so seeing Ahsoka hit all of those little things that went on in Clone Wars and in Rebels was just amazing. Seeing Hera, seeing Sabine, seeing, just
Ezra Bridger come back.
Well, just having that a continuation from Rebels 3, season 3, that was amazing, and I just love that. So yeah, Ahsoka's been one of my favorites now too. So, and
I love the way that they portrayed the Empire, like the Imperial remnant. It's like if you look at like the First Order, it looks like they get everything brand new out of an Apple store.
Right.
And then if you look at Thrawn's, like soldiers are all beat up with like bandages, his ship's all tore up and just trashed, and yeah, it looks more like an Imperial remnant.
Right. And he was. Being stuck out in that galaxy, he was a remnant. That's all he was.
Yeah. So I was. And then they got they've been talking to Filoni, and he was like George Lucas's protege, of course, but they're talking about him doing a film with Thrawn. Is that true? Or
so from what I've been told, his new project for movie wise is going to be the all encompassing of the whole Mandoverse. So it's going to be Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. And I don't know if Andor is going to be. I would think Andor is going to be in it as well. But it's definitely going to have Ahsoka in it, and so yeah, they're definitely going to be focusing on that. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does with a movie debut like that.
That's awesome. That's going to be. So they got that one, and they've got another one, which is continuing the story of Rey, like after the Rise of Skywalker. And there's like a third one. There's like 3 movies, right?
Yeah, 3 movies. Yeah. So we'll see. I'm fully thrilled over the Mandoverse movie.
Me too.
The Rey movie, it all depends on the writer and the director.
Right.
Because you can have an amazing cast, but if they don't do it right, it ends up looking like Last Jedi, and
Oh man,
you get to see
yeah, Ryan Johnson goodness.
you get to see Carrie Poppins flying through space.
The thing that got me with that film was there's some really hokey stuff like the Mary Poppins in Space was interesting for sure, but I don't know if maybe I mean she was strong with the Force Leia, but the thing that got me was when Kylo Ren was flying through the space and he literally just flew right through the shields.
Right.
That's never happened in Star Wars. Like even when like Obi-Wan and Anakin were going over to General Grievous's ship, they had to blow up the shields, then come in, then get out of the fighters. They didn't have to go straight to the shields. So there's a lot of inaccuracies in there. The best inaccuracy, in my opinion, which was clever if he was using it as like a trick to trick Kylo, was when Luke came in as the Force projection to battle him on was it not Scarif, it was Crate. When he battled him on Crate, if you look, the saber he has is actually the Empire Strikes Back saber.
Right, and we did notice that.
Yeah, so I guess if I had to think, he astro projected that saber to mess with Kylo because he knows Kylo wants the saber to be even more mad at him. I guess that was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, that part of it I thought was pretty amazing. Just because they had done projections before and stuff like that, so that made sense to me. But then you get into Rise of Skywalker where they're pulling lightsabers out of their back from
healing everything.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, we've never seen that. Why are you all of a sudden bringing that forth? So new technology.
I mean, they continued it on. I mean, the thing I was talking to somebody recently, and they like the Mary J, the expanded universe kind of. If they had done the last 3 before they did the prequels, they could have gotten Harrison Ford and all of them much younger, back in the 90s. And if they had done that, the dark, whatever, like the Heirs of the Empire, Thrawn, or whatever version of, that trilogy they wanted to do, they would have had them much younger, and they could have had them all together in the Falcon or whatever setting you want to put them in. The thing that got them is each film. If you look at each film, the first one, of course, they killed off Han Solo. The second one, they killed off Luke, and the third one, of course, Leia, Carrie Fisher passed away, but she passes away in the third one. But the only one that was left was Lando. You never even got to see them all together with Lando or any of them.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a whole nother universe out there in a Marvel or Disney multiverse where that probably happened. But
well, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing with the series that are going on, like Mando, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett. With Favreau kind of working that. He's been doing this multiverse thing anyways, with doing it with the Marvel side. So with him doing it with the Star Wars, it's really neat to see these series coming together. It makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it really is. And I've been following the Marvel, like from the conception of the original studios. When they first did Marvel, Favreau, they did 2 films. They did Hulk with Edward Norton, and they did Iron Man 1. And Iron Man 1, there's some very fascinating stuff with Iron Man 1 that he vouched for RDJ to be Iron Man.
Right.
And there's a reason, the real reason, which we'll just go tell it everybody, the real reason that Terrence Howard was not cast as Rhodey in Iron Man 2 and the rest is when they came up for announcing the Avengers contract. Well, first off, let's backtrack. A friend of a buddy of mine's who's an Olympic world-renowned artist, Terrence Howard used to couch surf his house. And when he got big, big role in Iron Man 1, the artist called up and Terrence picked up and said, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing good. I heard you got that role." And Terrence Howard's words, "I don't owe you nothing, man. I'm big time now." Well, what happened was when they negotiated the big upfront money for Avengers 1, of course, Robert Downey Jr. was already, he's already done well with Iron Man 1. So they gave him, I think, $50 million up front. And then Terrence was getting all greedy. They muscled him out, and then they got Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
So Don Cheadle, that's why Don Cheadle, he's more, I met him a couple times. He's a super nice guy. He's very humble and down to earth. If you look at those two, and then here's the funniest part of all. About maybe 10 years later, I was sitting at a restaurant getting a breakfast, and I was having a coffee. And right next to me, there was a gentleman, and I got into talking. He's, "Oh, I'm Terrence Howard's cousin." I'm like, "Really?" And he kind of agreed with me on that. But he was actually down there defending some lawsuit of some doctors that were buying Ferraris and Porsches like Richard Pryor instead of when they're overcharging people with pain medication. They weren't rolling the cents off the computers. That was Superman 3. But so these guys in my hometown, basically, they got some doctors, older gentlemen. They were prescribing too many pain meds, and they were buying Ferraris, and they got arrested. And basically, that was one of the big lawsuits.
Jeez.
And he was down there, and I said, really? And he's like, yeah. And Terrence's cousin's like, yeah, all those guys are going to jail.
They done.
Big time. So he agreed with that. But yeah, but I think Terrence, I wouldn't say he was a bad roadie. I think he was good, but I like Don Cheadle's a little bit better.
I do too. I think he's more personable.
Yes. And he's done a lot of stuff in his own life that mirrors kind of like the Marvel, like, the stuff with the UN,
right?
Stuff with charity. He's a lot of stuff with, various organizations. He just kind of fits that military, roadie aspect. But when you get back to the full circle with the Marvel and the Star Wars, you had mentioned that Jon Favreau and Filoni being there, especially John being there in kind of both ecospheres. I mean, those guys, when I heard they were going to do a Mandalorian, a live action Star Wars series taking place 5 years after Return of the Jedi, I was like, wow, this is going to be amazing. Since I was a kid, I wanted a live action Star Wars. So everybody was.
Right.
So, it was amazing.
Well, and just the whole thing where it comes out, it's kind of like a Western design. It's
like a Wild West sci-fi.
Exactly. And so, that just tugged at the heartstrings of our generation because, that's the stuff that we watched, the stuff we understood. And then with it being still the sci-fi, the Mando, it still hit the other generations as well with the younger kids. This is the first show that I've heard in a while that I knew of middle schoolers going to friends' houses for school at butt crack in the morning to watch a show before they go to school because, this is so amazing. When was the last time you've seen a show like that?
Never. And when we were kids, we had the special edition came out in the early 90s in theaters, and they cleaned it up. And that's the first time that generation, some of them have actually even seen Star Wars in a theater.
Right.
The only time before that was on a television screen. And back then they didn't have all these big screens.
Right.
So, it was impressive. And then for them to then now have a live action universe that they can play all these different stories is freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I want to ask you a question for the R2 Builders Club of Kansas City. Is there any upcoming events or anything you'd like to shout out about the organization?
Well, right now we don't have anything coming up this year. I think we've pretty much
almost over this year.
Yeah, we're pretty much, it's pretty much we've done all that we've done for the year. We do have small things that go on because we're pretty active with the 501st. So we do a lot of stuff with them. They love having the droids there with them. So they're a lot more active than the R2 builders. It just really depends on our availability. When you only got 20 R2s in the area, and that's kind of 20 R2s, and then you have 200 501st members, you have a lot more possibility of getting a 501st member there. So we don't have anything planned really for this year. The next upcoming event we have coming is Planet Comic-Con, which will be its 25th anniversary. So we're hoping for some big things for this one coming up. So it'll be a pretty neat.
What month is that in, Planet Comic-Con?
Don't quote me. You might want to look that up, but I think it's March. I'd have to look at my calendar. I'm horrible about it until it gets close.
We'll definitely shout that. Everybody check out Planet Comic-Con in Kansas on Google or YouTube or wherever you can find it on Digital Awesomeness.
Yeah, it's both on Facebook and both on and they have their own webpage, Planet Comic-Con. And it's to be honest, if we didn't have Chicago near here, this would be the largest Midwest convention going on. It is huge. Bartle Hall is a large facility. It goes over a freeway. It's a pretty good sized convention center. It takes.
How many do they have at that event? I've never been there. What is it like?
What's it like? It's unbelievable. It's like C2E2. It really reminds me of that. It's just huge, and it's packed. The organizer's founder is Chris Jackson, and he's really good about bringing in top celebrities, and so they get a lot of big names, a lot of vendors, a lot of artist alley areas, comic artists, and guys that make stuff and prints and art, and which is my favorite. I love art, so I'm always collecting art. But yeah, so it's a really neat event, and like I was saying, it takes up the entire Bartle Hall. Then they have the panels that take care of in another building. They They've got like food trucks. They've got celebrity cars downstairs and the
Oh,
for
wow.
display. And so like we had
So
the
for
Dumb and Dumber.
customers.
Yeah, we had the Dumb and Dumber
We got a
shag.
comment here. We got a comment from, if I can bring it on here, from Tim Leffel. It must be a relative of yours.
That's my
What's
brother.
up, bro? What's up?
That's funny. But yeah, so
There's their live screen goodness there. But yeah, I want to check that out. Planet Comic Con sounds amazing, man. I want to check that out.
it'd be right up your alley. Seriously, I mean, it's a really good event, and it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's packed. I mean, it's a really good size event.
I have to check that one out for sure. Well, Chris, wrapping up, I wanted to shout out to, if you go down to hit use Chris Leffel, KCR2.com, Kansas City R2.com, their website, and of course R2 Astromech.net, right?
Right,
Is
and then
the,
that's the worldwide page, and then we also have our Facebook page, which is the Kansas City R2 Builders, which you can look that up and see. We post on there quite often if we've got events coming up, or if people have questions, they send us questions on that as well. And with us being local guys, I mean, we always love to help and talk, and we like to talk shop. It's fun.
Yes, indeed. Well, Chris, I want to thank you for being on the show. I will see you soon. Hopefully at one of these events, maybe it'll be Planet Comic Con.
Yeah, sounds good, Owen. I look forward to it, and thank you for having me.
No problem. You have a beautiful day, man.
All right. See you.